When it comes to buying versus leasing your next Honda vehicle, the differences can seem confusing. Fortunately, Denny and Menholt, Rushmore Honda's knowledgeable sales consultants, are here to explain everything about the leasing process. So Justin, what does it mean to lease a car?
Leasing a car is a lot like financing a car. It's just you can get a newer one every 3 years. So you can actually try a car out before you buy a car. So if you like it, you can actually purchase it at the end.
So leasing a car is similar to financing a car through your local bank, except at the end of your lease you do have options. You can choose to stay with the car that you're leasing and pay it off to own it, or you can just get a new car and enter into a new lease.
What are the benefits of leasing versus buying?
So you have lower payments, it's under warranty most of the time, and you can drive a new car every 3 years.
Can you talk a little bit about what gap insurance is?
So gap insurance is your guaranteed asset protection, and basically what that happens if you run into an accident with a total loss, what the insurance might pay, the gap insurance is going to cover the rest of what the vehicle's worth.
Okay. So what payments are due at the beginning of a lease?
When you lease a car, the first thing, you don't have to worry about down payment. That's up to you. The only thing that is due is your first payment. That way you always start ahead.
Trade-ins in a lease work just like down. Okay, so if you have a car that's worth $5,000, you put it on the lease, it's worth $5,000 down.
So what happens if you go over your mileage limitations?
There are a lot of different mileage parameters when it comes to leasing. You can go as low as 36,000 miles and you can go all the way out to 100,000 miles over the 3-year period. Whatever you contract for, if you do go over that, there is a mileage adjustment at the end, but not any different than if you own the car, you bring it back to me and it has more miles on it. Let's say it has 40,000 versus 36,000. We're going to show you less for the car anyway because it has more miles on it.
Okay, great. So a customer, at the end of their lease, they're not getting necessarily charged for the overture and their miles. It's just part of the depreciation of the car.
Right. It's just added depreciation because of miles used on a car.
Okay.
If you own a car, it's going to depreciate $300 a month. If you lease a car, you're paying $300 a month. Pretty much a wash at the end.
If you could tell customers one thing about leasing, what would it be?
When people are trying to decide whether to lease or purchase, there are a lot of similarities between the two. First of all, there's a purchase price on both. There is a monthly payment on both. At the end of 3 years, you have a balance due on the lease should you want to buy it out. The nice thing is, if you don't want to buy it out, you can turn it back into Honda and you won't have any inequity in the car as long as you're within the parameters of the lease. When you lease a car, you are actually just buying a car, paying for the depreciation, and then turning it back into the manufacturer.
What happens if your vehicle sustains damage? So, how does the insurance and liability work?
When you lease a car, as far as insurance goes, it works the same as if you purchase it. If you were to total a car, your insurance would cover it. And the nice thing in a lease is there's built-in gap insurance so that if your payoff doesn't cover the balance due on the car, the gap insurance will. So it works the same on a lease as purchase.
Okay.
On the lease, if you have equity, which we do on Honda on a fairly routine basis. I don't have that crystal ball to promise people that, but we check at the end of the 3 years when they go to turn them in. If it's worth more than the turn in, we will give them that amount of money when they purchase their next car from us.